this session. I would request all the students who are joining us for this webinar to kindly post all your queries on our Q&A section, please. We're about to start the session in a couple of minutes. So I think we have one of our panelists here, Bhushan Jadhav. And we'll be joined in by another panelist shortly. Bhushan, you could unmute yourself, please. I hope I am audible and visible to everyone. Please do post your queries in our Q&A section. And I hope I am visible and audible clearly to each and every one of you. Bhushan, you can unmute yourself, please.
Yeah. I was about to do that. Yeah, so, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Bhushan. Welcome. And we're just starting the webinar. We are waiting for one of our another panelist. He'll be joining in soon. So, Bhushan, we would like to hear a bit about yourself. We would like to brief about yourself to all the students, please.
Yeah, hello, everyone. I'm Bhushan Jadhav. I'm currently studying computer science engineering with data science at Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, Andheri. And I scored 98.51 percentile with rank 2100 in MHT CET 2021. Yeah, and I was a repeater. So yeah, last year I got 93.15%.
Great. So I think we could start, and meanwhile, another panelist will be joining us here. So let us start with some of the few questions that MHT CET is all about. So Bhushan, I would request you to, before we start taking the questions, I would request you to kindly brief a bit about this exam.
Yeah, about MHT CET. So yeah, I appeared in 2020. So I have experience of both type of exam twice. So yeah, MHT CET is considered for entrance exam for top colleges in Maharashtra like VGTI, COEP, Sardar Patel and PICT. The top two colleges of VGTI and COEP take only Maharashtra students, but Sardar Patel and PICT allow through JEE Main and other scores. So MHT CET exam for is for top colleges. It's about 200 marks, 50 physics, 50 chemistry, and 100 maths. And it has no negative marking. The kind of level of questions depend upon HSC syllabus mostly, and some questions are tougher. And yeah, it's all about exam, I guess.
Okay. So if we talk about the preparation, since this session is all about preparation for the upcoming MHT CET 2022. So firstly, we would like to know a bit about your experience since you have given the exams twice. So how was your overall experience of giving this exam particularly?
Yeah, so first year I was more focused about JEE and I gave less time to MHT CET, though I prepared for it as for boards. So yeah, MHT CET and JEE, if you talk about, there are two main differences. The first is no negative marking. And second one is there are less time, so you are expected to solve more questions in less stipulated time. And yeah, so I think the MHT CET is all about practice and how fast you can solve the questions. The level of questions that they come are slightly bit of higher than the board level and not at all like JEE level. Apart from all three subjects, I think you should morely focus on maths. It has 100% like half weightage, so you should more focus on maths. And the preparation goes like any other entrance exams, books, the right kind of strategy to follow, and last day performance as well.
Okay. So since you also mentioned about JEE Main, so I just want to know that how the preparation for MHT CET is different from what you're preparing for JEE Main. Is it the similar pattern that you need to prepare, or there are certain things that is like differentiating between the two?
Oh yeah, so I think the extent that they have, they are both like vastly different. The first is syllabus. We start from syllabus. So JEE syllabus is mainly from Cbsc side and a lot more vaster. The MHT CET is more focused on Maharashtra board, so the syllabus is less. In maths, it's kind of same only, but in physics and chemistry, there are very stark differences in syllabus. Apart from that, the negative marking, as I said, the JEE has negative marking and MHT CET doesn't. And also the time is less, like 3 hours, 150 questions, and JEE has 90 with the options as well. So the time is very, very less. So MHTCT, the right kind of the kind of mindset that you have in exam is completely different. But like preparation, they are somewhat similar on.
Okay, so I think that pretty well answers the kind of preparation you need for both of them. So also connecting to that, Bhushan, since you answered for JEE Mains, if someone is appearing for MHT CET, can you also sit for JEE Mains? Is that an option?
Yeah. You can sit for both. There is no as such as that.
Okay, so the students can prepare for both the exams and sit for both the exams.
Yes.
Oh, great. So I think we have a question that is quite relevant, and I think you could answer well. Repeaters need a gap certificate or not? Since you had repeated a year, so yeah, do they need a certificate or something like that?
Yes, they need a gap certificate for admission.
Okay, great. So also I'd like to take some more questions from the students. Like Amit Mandlik wants to ask, like, the last moment preparation or the last moment of revision, how do you do that? How do you prepare for that before the exam?
Yeah, there are, I would say, if you have studied entire syllabus, the revision should be a faster. But if you are lifting somewhat of syllabus, you need to focus on what you have done already and just revising that. What mistakes have you done in all preparations? Like this question I was stuck, or this concept I am very weak at. So just look at that. I would not say focus more on that. Focus on your strengths in last month, because the mindset you need in exam is like, I can crack every question that appear. And also in MHTCT particular, there is no negative marking. So you have to have idea about all the topics. So cover as much as you can. And last month preparation, I guess mock test and analyzing the mock test, there is no other way to crack exam better way than that.
Great. So I think, Bhushan, we are also joined in by our second panelist, Purvesh. Purvesh, if you are there, you can switch on your video and audio, please. And also, I would request all our students who are raising up their hands to please put all your queries in the Q&A section, and we'll definitely try to take your queries from here with our panelist. All right. So, Bhushan, moving ahead with some other questions that we were thinking. So, certain questions are there, like for students, will preparing for MHT CET help them get a good rank in the exam? And, what are the strategies, particularly if we talk about, they should follow for getting a good rank and having good score at MHT CET?
So first of all, set the target that you want. So target should be always 99 percentile above. So it depends on shift. So but averagely it comes about 130 to 150 for a good rank. So set the target and accordingly know your syllabus, right? So the syllabus is quite different from JEE Mains. There are lesser topics in MHT CET. Also, the chemistry part is a bit easier, and maths part is somewhat similar about JEE. So know your subjects in and out. What topics are, what kind of questions come from a topic. Like I would say that integral calculus has lengthier questions, which need to be done in a lot more time. Physics has a lot of trickier questions, which can't be cracked in that time of exam time. So when you are solving question, keep in mind that you are solving for the exam, right? We tend to solve it like 3 or 5 minutes, but take less time. Have a grasp on all your concepts. Like in JEE particular, there are more questions like 2-3 concepts in one question, but for MHTCT, that's not the case. You have one formula, so you just have to apply it, or theory questions as such. So you have a 4 months time, I guess. The MHTCT 2022 is in May end or June start. So try to cover as much as the syllabus now only, March or April, because the last time is to focus on your strengths rather than the weaknesses. So you should have covered all the topic, because MHTCT is that kind of exam that easier questions can come from any topic. Like you can just mark them in 10 seconds and move on, but you don't know on what topic that will come. So try to cover almost all the syllabus, I would say that.
Right. So talking about the syllabus and the subjects, which topics have highest weightage, per subject? Like these need to be prepared more thoroughly, that you would suggest?
It is even, but certain topics are. So in physics, I remember the modern physics comes a lot in weightage percentage. Oscillations is one of the topic which comes. And for 11th and 12th, 11th is 20% and 12th is 80% in MHT CET. So focus more on 12 topic for physics. Chemistry is somewhat similar. The physical chemistry sometimes come a lot in exam, but it's only formula based and regular like JEE Main. In maths, of course, the 50% weightage is maths. For in that, of course, integral calculus is the main topic, and extending to that differential equation, the weightage is about 30 to 40%, even sometimes. So in that logic, 12th part of maths is very, very important, and calculus as such.
Right. So, talking about the subjects and the preparation and the strategies also. So, did you follow any particular books, or would you refer certain books that students can follow and take help from?
Yeah, for MHT CET, the students who are preparing for JEE Main must go through MHT CET textbook for all three subjects. Many questions come from that. Apart from that, any standard subject, standard book like Arihant, I used Target Trump book for physics and maths particular. Chemistry is textbook is enough, I would say. Just practice that. And any standard book like Arihant or Trump for the MHT CET, just stick to the one book and revise it rather than going for multiple standard books, I guess.
So, Bhushan, we have another panelist over here. Purvesh has joined us, and I think probably he'll be available on audio. So, Purvesh, you could unmute yourself. Yeah. So, Purvesh, could you be a bit audible? We cannot hear your voice. Can you be a bit louder, please?
Hi. Now, am I audible clearly?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Purvesh, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you.
And Purvesh, we started off the webinar with Bhushan, who is another panelist over here. And he has already started taking certain questions. So, Purvesh, I would like to ask firstly, how was your overall experience of MHT CET exam? Yes, Purvesh, you can go on.
Yeah, sure. About my overall experience, as I have given JEE Mains also, so it was a little bit easy for me.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, you're audible. Please go on.
Okay. So as I told, I have also given JEE Mains. So MHT CET was a little bit easy for me, and for the maths, CET was somewhat difficult.
So, Purvesh, what all preparations you had for preparing, while preparing for this exam? What particular things did you follow for this?
I just followed our state government textbook. And for the specifically maths, I have followed Singhage Publications book, which is which gives us very deep knowledge.
Okay. So, coming to a question for you, Purvesh, can students from other state also write this exam? Is this possible, or it's just for Maharashtra students?
No, other students can also give this exam if they want.
Okay.
Some of my friends are from Jammu and Kashmir. They have also given this exam. Some of the friends have from Jharkhand have also given this exam.
Okay. So coming to you, Bhushan, talking about class 11 and 12 syllabus, how much of that syllabus is included for this MHT CET exam? And, for each of the class, like 11 and 12 particularly, what are the important topics that could be considered for MHT CET? Yes, Bhushan, you could go ahead.
Yeah. So as we all know, MHT CET has 20% portion for 11. So 10 marks for physics, 10 chemistry, and 20 maths. The topics are 8 to 10. Last year that was 8 to 10 topics per year per subject. So yeah, you have to just study from that only 11 textbook and practice the question in 11. But the majority of portion is 12. So like the 160 marks is all of 12. So when you are going from 12th, right? So that momentum has carried over now. So you are studying 12 topics. So I would suggest that try to cover as much of 12th as early as you can, and then you can devote like 20 or 30 days max to max for 11 topics. That is enough. I did for that like 20 or 30 days. The practice the questions and give the past year questions. So 11, the past year questions gets repeated a lot. So focus on that, I would say.
Right. So just connecting to that part, Bhushan, students also want to know how do they prepare notes, for certain things like they want to prepare beforehand the exam, and also certain notes that they want to keep in handy, during the final moments of revision just before the exam. So how do they prepare those notes?
Yeah, that is a good question. So there are very lot of formulas in physics and maths. So when you're studying the topic, when you finish off the topic, try to write the snapshot of each chapter in about 1 to 2 pages so that you can refer at the end or revision of that. When you're doing revision of last month revision, try to just write formulas and don't write examples as such. Just solve that in your mind. For physics, now I would say that having concept stronger, and you can derive the formula at time, because so there are certain 5 to 6 questions where you have to derive the formula. So you have to just remember that. Also in maths, of course, you are applying that formula to hundreds of questions, so it can just remind if you are. But for statistics, I would say the statistics formulas you can prepare for them at last. And just beforehand write about yourself, because if you read up from a book, that will not get written. And exam pressure, that doesn't get remembered at all. So if you write that, so you will remember that in the pressure.
Okay. So Prachi wants to know, Bhushan, is HSC textbook enough for preparation for MHT CET? Is just those books enough, or do they need to take help from some other books also?
No, like any other entrance exam, MHT CET is also very competitive. So they are raising till 2015-16, the level was kind of similar to HSC textbook, but it has went higher than that in recent 3-4 years. So not a textbook, also the MCQ in a standard book like Arihant or Target Trump or Marvel as such. So you should practice the standard MCQ, because in textbook you don't get a practice of question, but the concepts are only 100% from MHT CET textbook. There is no other concept in like JEE syllabus from that. The MHT CET syllabus is strictly on HSC textbook. So should we focus on that, and any other standard book, practicing the MCQ will be a lot helpful than only relying on textbooks, I guess.
So, Bhushan, coming to the exam format, like what is the exact exam format, and how the subject marks are divided? If you could like brief a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's 50 marks in physics and 50 marks in chemistry. The first 90 minutes are allotted to that. So you have to complete 100 questions in 90 minutes of physics and chemistry. Then the paper goes off. The next paper comes, that of maths, of 90 minutes and 50 questions. Though each question has 2 marks of weightage. There is no negative marking as such. So you have to really practice a lot in physics and chemistry of just managing the time, because it's very a trickier situation. And in maths, about 1 question 2 minutes, so it is manageable and like a JEE also.
Great. So Purvesh, coming to you, there are a lot of students who are preparing for this exam along with their boards exam. So they have this question that can they prepare for both together? I mean, preparing for the board exams and also preparing for MHT CET. So Purvesh, if you would like to answer on that.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
You can answer, Purvesh.
Yeah. Please wait a second. Actually, I'm starting my camera.
All right. So meanwhile, Purvesh is back with his camera, and I think he's facing a bit of technical difficulty. So coming to Bhushan.
Yeah.
Bhushan, just wanted to ask the same question to you. Like, can they prepare for, for both the exams together? Like they are preparing for the board and also they want to prepare for MHT CET. So can they manage both?
Yeah, so I have personal experience in that, so I can answer that greatly. So in my 11th, 12th, from 2018 to 2020, I prepared for boards and JEE Mains both. So I have extensively prepared for boards that quite a help a lot in my MHT CT because the syllabus is exactly the same. So when you are preparing, asking about MHT CET, you should preparing our boards. The chemistry level is almost similar. There is no other. There is slightly higher level in MHT CET, but maths is a lot tougher and physics also. Some questions are trickier than the board. So if you are preparing for any both from boards or MHT CET, I would say rather focus on MHT CET. The subjective part of boards can be covered in 1 month if you have good preparation of MHT CET and have a grasp on concepts. So you can write subjective answers in board.
Right. So just adding to that question, since you answered this, Sneha wants to know which type of questions is asked in MHT CET exam. Is it all about objective or subjective, or combining both?
Yeah, so it's different in any subject. The maths, the questions are like JEE only. There are little bit smaller than the JEE because JEE has a concepts of like series and then integration and differential equation. MHT one question, one concept, hardly two or three. So the time is very less for maths. Chemistry, theoretical in or inorganic chemistry as usual, and physical chemistry formulas, organic chemistry reaction, name reactions. So it's like JEE only, but the level is little lower. It's like boards. And physics, there are coming trickier questions year to year. Physics is, I would say, is more tougher than maths if you consider the time factor. So in physics, not only concept, but you have to do calculation fastly in the stipulated time. So it's little bit trickier and tougher. So focus on physics also. I would say the time factor is differentiating between both subjects.
Great. So I think Purvesh is here. So Purvesh, coming to you, students do prefer, they are preparing with their exams, with their board exams also. So they do want to know that which board books should be preferred, like CBSC or the state, or combining both of them. So if you would like to answer on that.
No matter that which book they are preferring, it depends on their boards. If they are giving the CBSC board, then they have to prefer CBSC books for their board exams, and for the MHT CET, they have to prefer state board books.
Okay. So just connecting to that, Arya wants to know, is NCRT of CBSC board enough to prepare for MHT CET if she only follows that?
No, that's not enough. Means actually that is extra. So they don't need NCRT books for MHT CET. If they are giving JEE, then only they need NCRT books.
Okay.
For bio, if they are giving the exam for bio only, bio also, then if they want, they can prefer NCRT books for bio only. But for chemistry and mathematics and physics, they have to prefer state board books.
Okay. So coming to you, Bhushan, talking about the mock test. So how important do you think mock test is, and how will taking mock test improve MHT CET score?
So I think if you look at any topper of any entrance exam, be it JEE or MHT CET, the mock test comes a very crucial is very crucial part of preparation. In end of your preparation, 1 or 2 months before the exam, you should start giving mock test and full length mock test, like not chapter wise or all. I would say the number minimum is 20. I give that number. More than giving the mock test, analyzing those and identifying your weak areas, focusing on that is very, very important in the last phase. If you get a less score, like if any mock test is tougher or lesser, try to get a mock test that is somewhat similar to MHT CET level and not tougher than that, because that will lower your confidence before the exam. So keep that keep in mind that factor, and just practice the mock test, analyze your weak concepts. If you are doing silly mistakes, then try to avoid as much as you can, because MHT CET is doesn't give you time to correct the mistakes like JEE. If you do a question wrong, so you can reattempt the question in JEE, but MHT CET, the time factor is so much less that you just can't do the question again. So yeah, I would suggest cover the syllabus and try to give as many as mock tests you can.
Right. So, talking about your own experiences, did you take mock test and how did you prepare through mock test?
Yeah, so I was in a course, online course. So they had provided me 15 mock tests. So I just prepared from that in 1 month, and 5 mock tests from any other online resources that I found. And more than the score, I just focused on what which topics I have, and I just focused on that, revise them. If I'm doing any silly mistakes, I try to avoid it in next test. So if you are covered in good syllabus, 90 to 80%, you should start giving mock tests. You should not late that I will give 5 or 6 mock tests before 1 week and I will go through exam. No, because the pressure of MHT CET is very different. Like JEE, if you have time, so you don't have that factor in mind. So the students who are preparing for JEE and CET, I would suggest you should more focus on giving mock tests for CET if you are switching from JEE Main study.
Okay, so Bhushan, we do have a question coming up for you. Since you mentioned that you did repeat a year for MHT CET, so was there any particular reason you thought of repeating it again?
Yeah, so the last year I got 93.15 percentile, and I was getting admission in Mumbai also. But I thought that on 3 February, somewhat of for admission round, so I decided that if I prepare sincerely, with lot more focus. I didn't know my mistakes before in last attempt, so I think I could crack the exam again with a good number. I get in top college. So I had that kind of self belief. It was very late because it was January end, so we knew that it was like 3 or 4 months gap for the exam. But I took that chance, and I think the risk paid off for me.
Okay, so coming to Purvesh. While preparation, there are a lot of materials, there are a lot of notes, there are a lot of chapters. So Akhilesh wants to know that, while preparing for the exam, can you leave out any chapter or particularly any topic that can be skipped while preparing for the exam? Yes, Purvesh.
No, I will suggest to study each and every topic for physics and maths. For chemistry, you can skip the topic of dehydration.
Yeah.
But for physics and maths, you have to study both topics, each and every topic.
So, Purvesh, just adding to it, Sachin wants to know that how do you prepare for organic chemistry, and also what type of questions are asked for organic chemistry? If you could help him with that.
Sachin, organic chemistry contains carbon bond specifically, or carbon bond. So if you are good in carbon bond, then you don't have to study separately for that.
Okay. So coming to your Bhushan, students, as you said, also mentioned, previously that you should always aim for 99 percentile. So how much marks to be scored tentatively for, getting a 99 percentile? How much marks do you need for that?
Yeah, for like JEE, there are a lot more shifts happening in MHT CET because 3 or 4 lakh students sit for PCM and PCB. So you will get 10 or 12 shifts depending upon the number of applicants. So the score varies. If it's tougher paper, you can get a 99 percentile in 135 to 140, but the paper is easier. A lot more students will score the mark. So the score goes to even 160. So averaging out, you should try for 150 score. But and focus on covering all the syllabus, because you won't know which topic will get easy questions. So focus on most syllabus and have a target of 150 to 160 for 99%.
Right. So also just adding on to that, how many months before exam, you should start giving mock tests. There should be a particular time limit that you should start preparing the mock test a month before, or maybe 15 days before. So what should be that ideal time, for preparing through mock test?
Yeah, so it's very personalized question, and depends upon students. If you are preparing, have prepared a 90 to 80% syllabus already, start giving full length mock test. But you haven't prepared it 50 to 60%. I would suggest in MHT CET, you should try to cover syllabus, and you can delay the mock test as less to 2 to 3 weeks. But if our good students have completed the syllabus, you should start doing mock tests as early as you can, so you can identify your weak areas and focus on that. So you generally it's 1 to 2 months before the exam covering all the syllabus. But if you're not haven't covered in MHT CET, you should cover the syllabus, because the easy questions come. It's not like JEE that you have to have command on all the concepts. So you should focus on syllabus. And for the good students, I would suggest you should start before 1 to 2 months.
Right. Also, Bhushan, would you like to suggest from where can they take the mock test, and how should they go for it?
Yeah, there are many online resources for the mock test. You can join any standard test series. Just look at sample mock test beforehand. If it's tougher than the level, try to avoid it. It's because it will take your morale down before the exam, which you don't want at any cost. And for the offline paper book like Arihant or PYQ books, I would suggest you can do that as a practice, but not as a real mock test, because you write the answers, right? If you are giving a mock test, you are clicking on the paper and having the interface, which is very, very important, because you can get nervous at the last stage seeing computer and that environment. So try to give online mock test rather than offline paper exam, I guess.
Okay, so coming to Purvesh, we just wanted to know a bit about reserved category candidates, like how admissions to reserved category candidates are done through MHT CET. Yes, Purvesh, if you can hear me. Okay, so I think he has some difficulty. So coming to you, Bhushan, I just wanted to repeat the same question to you, talking about like how admissions to reserved category candidates are done through MHT CET.
Yeah, so the reservation quota for both the exams, it's same as the JEE Main for the category students. About top colleges, the JEE Main exam, through JEE Main exam, you can get only at Sardar Patel College and PICT. The VCT and COEP are only for the MHT CET students. And yeah, so there are many top colleges, and the reservation is as standard as JEE Main for category students.
Also, Bhushan, would you like to suggest the best colleges that students can apply for after appearing for MHT CET exam? So what would you like to suggest?
Yeah, so the MHT CET exam, the COEP and VZTI are reserved only for the Maharashtra students. So that's one of the factor. But for other college students, there are colleges like Sardar Patel and PICT. They have 15% reservation for from JEE Main also, but 85% for CET. So you can score in CET and appear in the admission process for that. Have reservation quotas for Kashmir students, I guess. So they can give JEE Mains and come through these also. MHT CET, Maharashtra students can get on COEP, VZTI, Sardar Patel, PICT, and VIT. I guess there are top 5 colleges. And also Walchand.
Okay. So also just connecting to that, talking about the reservation criteria for the state and for all India candidates, like what exactly is the criteria?
So yeah, about exams, anyone from India can appear for the exam, but the 2 colleges, like I thought, VZT and COEP are reserved for Maharashtra candidates only. But Sardar Patel and PICT, the non-government college, which are private, are open to from all over the India. They have 15% criteria for JEE Mains, 15 to 20%. So if a JEE Main candidate, you can come through that only, and they have criteria for MHT CET as well.
Also talking about the various subjects and the topics, that as you did mention that class 11 and 12 subjects are important and they need to prepare for that as well. So particularly about class 11 mathematics, so what exactly do they need to prepare? What type of questions would be there, and should students skip studying mathematics? Can they skip that, or they should include that and study the mathematics part also?
Of standard 11, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so about standard 11s, the 20 marks weightage is for standard 11th maths. There are 10 topics or 9 to 10 topics. Topics are lot easier. There are few concepts in tough concepts in somewhat of any topic, like sequence series I remember as such. The complex number is added last year, so that wasn't. So you can practice the questions from textbook also and standard book. You are good to go for class 11, but I would suggest if you're good at class 12, first try to cover the class 12 syllabus, and you have the time, right? So 20 to 30 days are more than enough for preparing all the 3 subjects of 11, and you should just focus on practicing questions. There won't be tough questions like 12 syllabus from 11 syllabus. There are easier questions.
Right. So also, Bhushan, would you like to suggest any online class or coaching that students might take help for, MHT CT, because they do want to know that how did you prepare? Did you take coaching? Did you have online classes for this? So how all did you do it?
Yeah, so for before 2020, the last attempt, I didn't had any coaching. I had just for the boards and for JEE Main side. So for CET, I did self study pretty much last year. And this year, it was too late for me to join any personalized offline coaching. So I took a one online course for the reference, but did a lot self study for more center at the time. So I would suggest if you are any coaching, try to make use of that resources. And MHT in particular, it can be cracked through self-study, in my opinion, because it's not a more about guidance and more about self-study. In JEE Mains, of course, you need a guidance and coaching. And any coaching that you feel that, okay, I need help in that subject or overall, you can join any standard coaching and take help of that.
Right. So coming to, individual subjects, particularly physics and chemistry, like those subjects, those are the topics or the subjects that students usually deal with. And I could see questions, from students about organic, chemistry, about physics. So just suggest them about, how to solve those paper in time, especially for PCM students. What would you suggest as a strategy?
Yeah, about PCM students, I would suggest physics and chemistry. Focus on more on chemistry. If you are not good at physics at conceptual level, you have prepared. There are less time available now. Chemistry, personally, I did that in 25 to 30 minutes max to max. So try to take less time in physics chemistry for chemistry, because physics needs the time. And you don't know how that level of paper will come. It can be like physics and chemistry were a lot tougher, but maths was easier. But you carry that tiredness in the next paper, so you ruin the paper. So in preparation, I would suggest focus on chemistry, and if you like physics and have a lot of concept, so try to score 40 to 45 plus in physics. And chemistry, I would suggest you should try to score maximum marks possible. And it for MHTC, if I'm talking about, the level is about of boards, just to memorize some topic in inorganic chemistry, practice organic chemistry questions, name reaction, as I did. For like organic chemistry, I did put a lot of effort. And physical chemistry is like standard only JEE Mains. So you have formulas and just apply it. So focus on time factor for physics and chemistry. And yeah, on physics, I would suggest there is no other option than having a grasp on concept. Any trickier question can come in MHT CET particular. There are easier questions, but you don't know which topic will be easier or tougher. So cover entire syllabus and try to practice many different type of questions, and also don't forget PYQs, because they got repeated a lot in MHTC.
Right. So, Bhushan, is there any particular cutoffs also for students, while they're appearing for the exam and they're trying to take admission? So, is there any particular cutoffs also?
Yeah, about like JEE Advanced, you are talking about JEE Advanced like subject-wise cutoff. There is isn't such. But as I said, 99 percentile or 98 percentile, you have to get that for top colleges. And for decent colleges, you can get to 90 to 95 percentile. For 99% and 98 percentile, so the score range is between 120 to 160. And it will depend a lot upon your shift situation, but focus on your preparation for now.
Okay, so taking another question from Rutuja. What should be the minimum marks that you need to score for, getting entry into top 10 colleges, like the lowest part, the lowest score?
Yeah, as I said, you should focus on percentile. So percent depends a lot. So top 10 colleges in a good branch, I would say 98 percentile is the minimum. That reflect to score about 120 to 130. If it's tougher, and if it's easier shift, so 140 to 150. So it's better to have a target of 150 to 170 in mind, and prepare your preparation like that.
Okay. So Shreya also wants to know about a COEP. So what kind of criteria does COEP has? Does it has JEE Mains criteria or not? So she wants to know about it.
Yeah, as I said, the COEP and VCT are two government colleges. So they are only for the Maharashtra state candidates. You should have done 11th and 12th from here and resident of Maharashtra. For top branches like CS and EXTC, the score goes to 99 to 98 percentile. For core branches, the score is like less, 97 percentile. And yeah, they are top colleges, but you have to do only MHTCT. There are no entry for JEE Mains candidates.
All right. So Bhushan, coming to IIT, JEE, and MHCT, is this preparing for both same, or there are certain special efforts that is required for MHT CET?
So yeah, I have seen a lot many conceptions that you have prepare for JEE and you crack the exam JEE of 99 percentile. You can do better at MHTCT, but I would like to contradict that because MHTCT is a lot about time factor and the kind of mindset, because there are very less hard questions like JEE Mains. You have tougher questions in JEE Mains, but CET it only the physics is somewhat level of that. For syllabus, there is lot lesser syllabus for MH. It depends on HSC board, so it's not like Cbsc board for JEE Mains. And yeah, apart from that, I don't think the preparation strategy remains the same. And mock test PYQs are repeated in MHTCT a lot. It's not like JEE Mains that new questions will come. About 20 to 30% questions are from the same concept, and just values change sometimes.
So, coming to the different courses after, you have appeared for MHT CET. So, what are the different courses that opens for a student, and what all courses they can take?
Yeah, so there are two papers like PCM and PCB. So PCM opens you engineering and technology. And about PCB, you can get in pharmacy kind of. So there are a lot of college offering in that. Yeah, about there are two papers and you can get in the top colleges from PCM and PCB.
So is there any different exam for getting into pharmacy or into that medical thing? So is there a different exam for that also?
Yeah, so MHTCT has two papers. So one is PCM set and PCB set. So PCM is only gets you admission in engineering and technology, and PCB is only in pharmacy, like that. So it's
Okay.
two separate papers. Yeah.
Okay. So also coming to the hacks that I'm sure you must have tried and applied, while preparing for the exam and for scoring good marks. So what would be your hacks, your applied, tried and tested hacks that you would like to share with the students?
I would suggest applied hacks. It's only useful after you have done the concept. Like if any shortcut, if you have know the shortcut, know the concept behind it also, and you just not memorize the shortcut and apply it. Because there are trickier questions in MHTCT also. There will be easy questions straightforward, so you can apply in that as well. In hacks particular, chemistry as inorganic direct questions come. So you have to memorize. You have to just read the 2 or 3 times textbook. Inorganic chemistry will be good. Organic chemistry, name reactions. You can use trick like any other trick to just memorize the name reaction. In maths particular, there are questions which come. So you have various shortcuts in integration and differentiation. You can apply that because the normal time takes a lot time and MHTC doesn't. In physics particular, there is less chance, but there are many formulas and shortcuts in like modern physics and also electrostatics, so that you can apply. In physics, the practice is more key than the hacks because in last day exam, the physics is a lot trickier, so that time factor comes a lot, and you by some any chance you can't remember the hacks at the last moment.
Right. So I think that really has a lot of hacks that student can actually apply while preparing for the exam. So coming to Purvesh, I'm sure while you were preparing for the exam, you must have your own set of tricks and strategies that you did have follow, or you had certain set of hacks. So would you like to share those with the students?
I haven't followed any particular strategy. Am I audible?
Purvesh, could you be more louder, please?
Hello.
Yes, Purvesh.
I haven't followed particular strategies and tricks. I just follow state board books.
So you say, so you mean ki always studying through those textbooks is enough for preparing for the exams?
Yeah, for MHT CET particularly, if you are studying properly for the state board books, then you can give answer for any question.
So did you also take help from online coaching classes, or you took any online classes for that?
Yeah, I was watching videos on YouTube for particular subjects. Physics and maths were somewhat tough, so I was watching for that subjects.
Yeah. So
And there is
Prachi,
a lot of material on YouTube for all subjects.
right. So Purvesh, we have a question for you from Prachi, and she wants to know, did you prepare for JEE or mains, or you did appear for only MHT CET?
I have appeared for JEE Mains also.
And how was the preparation for that? Did you prepare both together, or did you allotted different times and different strategies for preparing both the exams?
For JEE Mains, we need to use tricks because we don't have much more time in the exam to solve particular question. And particularly for JEE Mains, there are a lot of the questions which are problematic, which
Okay.
are
So
numeric. In that way, I said problematic. So for that questions, we need to use some tricks which are provided on YouTube also.
okay. So also, just talking about, since you have applied, since you gave both the exams, JEE mains also and MHT CET. So is there any effect of JEE mains on your MHT CET rank or allotment, or is it necessary to give JEE mains also?
Not necessary, but if you are aiming to go to the NIT or IIT, then it is necessary. But
Okay.
if you want to get the admission in a local college, then you have to give MHCET only.
So coming to you, Bhushan, talking about college references and universities. So apart from COEP, would you like to suggest any other college that students can get through?
Yeah, from Mhtcd, as I said, COEP and VGTI. The next two colleges based are Sardar Patel and PICT. They have a lot of good placements, nearly matching to the top two colleges. And the kind of exposure that you get, there are JEE Main students also. In VGTI and COEP, there are only Mhtcd students. But the exposure is good in Sardar Patel, PICT. Walchand is also government college, so from outside Maharashtra that student. So two colleges are Sardar Patel, PICT and VIT.
Great. So also talking about computer science, like what are the preferred colleges, and what should be like a different preparation strategy for that as well?
Yeah, about branch selection. If you are talking about computer science, is the most desired branch in all in all students. So you need a higher score for that. If you are aiming for the good colleges like Sardar Patel and PICT or COEP VZTI. So yeah, if you are hardcore interest in computer science, try to score as such, because many students have that desire only. So computer science, there are a lot of good colleges as well, decent colleges like DY Patil and other colleges. But the top colleges have greater opportunities and exposure, I guess, for computer science.
Also, would you like to mention any specific college for artificial intelligence?
I don't have any particular colleges, but our college has computer science, engineering, and specialization in AI ML and data science specialization. So you can have that kind of specialization. But in computer science as whole branch, you can study the AI ML topic. There are many good colleges coming up for AI ML as well.
Right. So I think we are almost towards concluding our session for today's MHT CET, and I think a lot of information was conveyed by both our panelists to all the students, all about the strategies, the preparations, and planning for MHT CET 2022. And I really hope that these information will be very much useful to all the students. So I think all the students can see a feedback poll right now on this screen. So I would request all of you to kindly fill up this feedback poll, as this will help us gaining your feedback and also improvising for our next webinar. Also, if any of your questions remain unanswered, please come back to us on our website, shiksha.com. Also, if you have missed out this video or have missed any part of this video, you can always watch the entire session on our official YouTube channel, shiksha.com. The entire video would be available there, and you can also connect to us directly through our email IDs and through our Shiksha assistant. So shiksha.com is always available for all your queries and for connecting you with the different campus representatives and for different universities. So I would like to thank both our panelists, Purvesh and Bhushan. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing all the knowledge and information, and wishing all the students all the very best for your exams. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.